Hi, and welcome to the Senior Network. I'm your host, Greg Fulton. Today we're joined by Steve Scudder with Hospice Care of Caroline, Friends of Caroline. Friends of Caroline. That's a long title. I always get them confused. Glad to have you. And you are the coordinator of what? Special services, correct?
Support services.
Okay.
I'm the chaplain and the bereavement coordinator and lift all the heavy boxes.
Awesome. Glad to have you. So glad to have you. And Travis, our buddy from Pruitt Health, glad to have you. Home Health. And you were telling me a little bit before the show, we were talking about falls, and I know we talk a lot about that on this show. Tell me a little bit about this program you mentioned.
Yeah, so Pruitt Health, Home Health, we rolled out a new fall balance program. It's called Safe Path, and it's a big initiative. A lot of agencies are going through, but we've rolled out a new one, and it's a holistic kind of approach. We do all the disciplines as far as therapy in the home. We include speech, occupational and physical therapy. And a lot of things come off of falls in the home.
Right.
You know, if it's not a bruise, it's a broken hip or vertigo, or it's just a lot of things that kind of come off of falls. So if you can hit it where it starts, you know,
sure, we
can reduce a lot of that risks. But a lot of people don't think about speech therapy as a fall risk or a benefit to prevent falls, but it does. Speech therapists don't only work with formation of words, they work with cognition a lot, short-term memory, and you got to know when to pick your foot up to stop the fall. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
That's really starting where you need to with therapy. And we throw occupational in there. They do a lot of cognition exercises as well, and of course physical therapy,
right,
going through the motions.
So is this like a tool that you use when an evaluation type thing when you go in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we always do a fall risk assessment, but this one's a little more detailed. As soon as the therapist goes in the home, they start right from the front yard. They're looking at the steps. They're looking at the handrails going up. Once they get in the house, they're looking for fall risk cords, handles in the bathrooms, throw rugs, of course.
Sure.
Looking for well-lit areas. Your bedroom and your bathroom may be well-lit, but the hallway getting to those areas are not very well lit,
right,
90% of the time. So we look for things like that, and just to try to cut down the risk. That's something easy. Put a tap light on the wall, easy for somebody to work. Raise your shoe rack. You know, old elderly people, they always keep their shoes under the bed.
Interesting.
I can't get down and get shoes from under my bed, so much less an 85-year-old
right,
guy. So little things like that we look at, and the studies have shown that's going to help a lot. So
you had mentioned some stats earlier about.
Yeah, they say about 80% of homes have at least one hazard, and about 40% have up to 5 hazards.
Interesting.
So that's almost every home, 80%. So you're getting up there. About 25,000 people a year, elderly, they actually die from injuries resulting from a fall, either it be a stroke or a head bleed or a long bone fracture, and they go into the hospital and they have an infection or a blood clot.
Sure.
Leads to a stroke or a PE, blood clot in the lungs. So if we can get it before the fall even happens, I mean, it'll help everybody tremendously.
Well, and a lot of people may not realize too, with home health, you know, you've got we're talking about a lot of seniors, so you've got Medicare, so that's paying for that benefit for them to go in.
Yeah, it's a resource that's underutilized in every aspect. So they pay for it 100%. Yeah.
Well, Steve, you're sitting there, I know you're thinking about some falls too, but your main role was support services. Give me a little idea of, you said you wore many hats, but I guess that's your official title.
Well, with our patients, I go in and provide chaplain services as they need them and able to talk to people about what they're going through. The primary role I play those as bereavement coordinator.
Okay.
You know, death is as much part of life as birth is.
Sure.
And it, depending on the relationship and the close proximity of you are to the person that you lose, it can be pretty traumatic, and it takes a lot of adjustment, not just to the emotional loss.
Sure.
It impacts you physically, mentally, spiritually, and it takes some work to get through, not only adjusting those aspects, but also adjusting your lifestyle. So we help a lot of people move forward.
Right. And I see a lot of literature out there with Friends of Caroline Hospice that you have a lot of support groups, correct?
Mm-hmm. I work with a lot of different adult groups. I have 2 support groups for people who've lost spouses, one in Bluffton and one in Port Royal.
Okay.
And then I have a group that I meet monthly of adults who have lost children. And we get together on a regular basis to talk about that. I do a group every 6 months. It's a 4-week series.
Okay.
Just a general bereavement series. And then we provide bereavement support groups in schools during the school day for students, kindergarten through 12th grade.
Awesome.
We've got a camp coming up, Camp Caroline. Will be June 25th this year at the Port Royal Sound Foundation's Maritime Center.
Right.
And that's for students who've completed kindergarten through grade 11.
And is that a one-day event?
It's a one-day grief camp where students can learn how to manage their exaggerated emotions. They can figure out support groups and who their supports are in the community. They also learn coping skills. On top of that, they'll get an echo boat tour ride of the Chichessie River and a nature hike through the marsh.
And you said you've been doing this for like, what, 5 years or so now?
Yeah, about 5 years, just a little short of that.
Good for you. I can tell the passion that you have for it. You can see it. It's great.
Everybody needs someone to walk through them in each aspect of the journey of life.
Exactly. Well, hold that thought. We're going to need to take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.